Եվ այդ խոսքերը ասում է, երբ որ համարավ այն ջրի, որ գինի էր դարձել, այդ բառ դարձելի վրա այսօր շարժություն կդարձնենք, դարձել, եղնել, տեսնում ենք Հովհաննեսի ավետարանի մեջ մի հետաքրքիր բան է, սկզբից խոսում է, սկզբից էր բանը, եւ բանը Աստծո հետ էր, եւ բանը Աստված էր, եւ ամեն բան որ կար, Աստծով եղավ, եւ ոչինչ Աստծով չեղավ, ինչ որ եղավ, նրանով եղավ, այդ եղավ բառը եւ այդ դարձել բառը նույն բառն են, եւ տեսնում ենք Հովհաննեսի առաքյալի այս գրքի մեջ ցույց է տալիս, որ Հովհաննեսը ստեղծող Աստվածն է, եւ ինչ որ չկա, Հիսուսը դարձնում է, ոչինչը դարձնում է մի բան, ինչ որ չկար մի ժամանակ, մի գերբնական ձևով ստեղծում է եւ իրականացնում է, եւ ոչ թե մի սովորական բան է Հիսուսը սարքում, բայց ամենալավն է սարքում Հիսուսը, ինչպես երկինք ու երկիրը ստեղծեց, այնպես էլ այդ ջուրը դարձրեց գինի, Հիսուսը իր ստեղծագործության զորությունն է ցույց տալիս, եւ ինչպես Հիսուսը այդ ջուրը դարձրեց գինի, մեզ էլ է նոր ստեղծագործություն դարձրել, եւ այդ նոր ստեղծագործություն դարձրածներս այսօր այդ նոր ստեղծագործության կյանքը պետք է ապրենք, ինչպես դարձրել է մեզի դա, մենք այսօր այդ նոր կյանքի մեջ է, and Հիսուս Քրիստոսի հարության կյանքի մեջը, այն նոր կյանքի մեջը պետք է դրա մեջ քայլենք. And I'll I'm going to go some. So I'm going to quickly go over it again. I'm sorry to do this twice. So we see Jesus and his disciples are at a wedding. And Mary is invited, and Mary seems to be one of maybe the leaders of that wedding because she's worried about the wine. She's responsible for the wine, and she's actually in charge of the servants. And so she tells Jesus and the disciples, and Jesus says, okay, do this, this, and this thing. I'm not going to go over what those things are. And he says, fill these jars with water. And he says, okay, take a cup, whatever it is, take the water and give it to the master of the feast, the one who's in charge of the wedding. And so Jesus, the servants take the wine, the water, they give it to the master tastes the wine, and the master tastes the water, and it has turned into wine. And today I want to focus on that word, made into one, has become wine. In verse 9, it says, so they took it. When the master of the feast tasted, the water now become wine. And we're going to focus on that word become. And this is an interesting word. So in the Greek, each word has like different meanings. And this is a word that means something that happened in the past, but that has relevance, that has significance for us today. So let me give you an example. In Ephesians 2:8, it says, we have been saved by grace. This word saved by grace, saved, is something that happened in the past, but today, right now in our lives, it has significance. It has power. It does something to us. Saved by grace, it's in the past, but it's not only in the past. It doesn't stay in the past. What happened in the past has effects in our life today. And so, I want to talk about this life of transformation. In the beginning of John's Gospel, it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And it says, he was in the beginning with God. All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made. I have a little nephew, and this one time we asked him, say something about Jesus. He's like, Jesus is my creator. And he's a very smart kid for that. I'm not bragging, I'm kidding. He's a very smart kid for that, because Jesus is our creator. And in the Gospel of John, John starts out saying, Jesus is your creator. And not only is he the creator of the world, he's the creator of all things. And Anything that was ever made was made through Jesus. And here we have at a wedding, Jesus is back to his work of creating. And see, Jesus' first creation, something happened. Sin and corruption got in. And things began to be dominated by sin, by the devil, by corruption, by death. And here Jesus has come, and he's creating something new. He's creating something new in each of us. And you know what's the most beautiful thing about this new thing? It's better than even the old creation. It's even greater. The master of the feast tasted the wine. He says, wow, you kept the good stuff till the end. And today I want to talk about that. The water becoming wine. It's similar to our life of transformation. That once we were dead in our sins, but Jesus raised us up to new life. He has forgiven us of our sins. He has cleansed us. He is creating in us a new thing. He's recreating us. He's molding us. He's shaping us. He's healing us. His hands are still working upon our lives, upon our hearts. In chapter 9, there's a blind man, and Jesus takes some dirt, and he molds the dirt, and he says, put this on your eye, and go to the water, and clean up. See, Jesus took the dirt, and he started creating. God created humans out of the dirt, and Jesus came, and he began that creating process again. He's creating something new in us. He's creating something beautiful. And we're not there yet. But the process of creation is continually going. But I want to ask this question to all of us. That life of new creation, that new thing that Jesus is doing, are we living in it? That new creation that we are. Paul says all who are in Christ are a new creation. A new way of seeing things. A new way of doing things. A new way of speaking. A new way of walking. We're a new creation. Made in the image of Jesus Christ. And so God is molding us. He's shaping us. And sometimes it hurts. His hands are very gentle. But sometimes we have wounds that when you even touch it in a gentle way, it hurts. And so Jesus is molding us. He's shaping us. You know how I said that something that happened in the past is still working in us? We are already a new creation, past tense. Christ has made us a new creation. But that new creation life is working in us. Are we letting Christ mold us, shape us into his image? How are we submitting to his Spirit? Are we allowing him to mold us? He took the dirt and he started molding. We too were made out of dirt. That's what the Bible says. We were made out of earth, dirt. There's that one song by Gungor. He makes beautiful things out of dirt. And so, today he's making a new and beautiful thing in us. Whatever sins we've had, whatever all these things that we've ever had, he's cleansing it. He's covering it. Continually, he's molding us. He's shaping us. But are we allowing him? Are we allowing him to do that in us? Now, I want to focus on one other thing. See, if the wine ran out, the party was over. See, if the wine ran out, the bridegroom, the Pesach, the husband was going to be ashamed. There was no wine, and weddings in the ancient world, and even now today, they go on for a few days. And even some Armenian weddings, right? When it's on a Saturday, on a Friday night, they kill a lamb. They do a gathering on that day. The next day they do something, and then the day after that they get together and eat some hash. Right? It's a few days. It's a process. Even though we don't think about it as 3 days of a wedding, but it's still a few days. And so Jews, from what I've read, did weddings for 7 days. And so it's not as if, it's just one day and the wine ran out. It's possible the wine ran out on the second day, which is very bad news. Because that means they're drinking a lot. But that's not, okay. But the point is that this new creation that Christ is making, this new thing he's making in us, it saves us from the shame. It saves us from humility in the bad sense of the word. It brings joy in our lives. See, by Jesus turning water into wine, he pretty much brought joy into a whole community. The bridegroom, the Pesach, was going to be ashamed. If the Pesach was going to be ashamed and there's no wine, some people are going to be ticked off. The mother of Jesus was going to be ashamed because she's a servant over there. She's one of the people that's serving at the table. The disciples were going to be ashamed. The people there were going to be ashamed. The host was going to be ashamed. It was going to be a shameful thing if the wine ran out. But see, Jesus, this isn't talking about getting drunk or anything, so I'm not pushing towards that. But there's something deeper in here. Jesus transforms lives, communities, families. Jesus transforms. But the question is, are we living in that transformation? Are we allowing Jesus to mold us? Are we allowing Jesus to shape us? Is our life bringing joy to others? Or are we always a headache to others? We are a new creation. And I know it doesn't look like that. You're looking at your body, you're like, God, this isn't the new creation. But he's doing something new in us. And I pray that we can live in that. And I pray that we can walk in that. There's a little play that we did back in the day. It's called, the Skit Crew does it. It's called God's Chisel. And some of you may have seen it, many of you may have seen it. And God, out of nowhere, shows up in this person's life. And he begins to chisel away. And this person's like, God, that hurts, that hurts. God's like, you want me to make you in my image? Do you want me to mold you and shape you in my image? Yeah, God, yeah. Then let me chisel you. Let me work on you. Let me break the stony heart. Let me break those things that are making a barrier between you and me. Let me take those idols out of your life. I want to emphasize this creation, this new creation. It's going to be painful. And see, a lot of times people are like, if I don't feel good about it, then it must not be God's will. But let me tell you something. If you don't feel good, it most likely is God's will. Because God takes us out of our comfort zones. He doesn't say, hey, just stay where you are. Wherever you are, he takes us out of our comfort zones. There's a quote. It says, every time God doesn't answer one of our prayers, one of our idols is destroyed. Every time God doesn't answer one of our prayers, one of our idols is destroyed. Because we demand to God, this is how it needs to be, this is how it needs to be.